All right, it's round 2 on functions today, and it's just because I want some practice and some confidence in this whole idea of functions. And I don't know. I don't think this will be too hard, but let's go. First of all, quick review. Functions are blocks of code that do a job for you in a program. And functions help you organize your code. If you don't use functions, I mean, you can put all the code right here inside your draw loop, and all the stuff inside the draw loop gets very long, and sometimes it's hard to understand when you read it because it's just not all that well organized. Functions help you kind of break it down into chunks and organize it. You got to remember that if you make a function, you have to call the function. Those two things work in pairs, and the functions have to be called by name with spelling and capitalization and all that matching. Functions, I want you to get in the habit of putting your functions at the bottom below the draw loop. I just think that's a very common programming practice, and so we're going to stick functions below the draw loop. And let's take a look at what you have today in this. This is a platform jump program, and it's not really a game. We're going to take a little character and make it kind of jump on platforms. And if I run it right now, here's what we got. You'll notice that, and let me reset and run that again. The character falls down, and the platforms also kind of drop down. But we're going to solve a couple of problems. Right now you have no control over the player, and also when the platforms go off the bottom of the game screen, they do not reappear at the top of the game screen. And so these are the things that we're going to solve. So if you look at the code that I'm providing for you, there are two platforms, Platform 1 and Platform 2. There is this jumper. I scaled the jumper a little bit, and the platforms have a velocity to them, and I don't have the platforms falling very slowly. I don't have them falling very fast. I just set their velocity at 1. I did not want them to fall very fast because what we're going to try to do is make it so the little dude can jump from platform to platform. Now inside the draw loop, I did put a couple of things. I've got a background color. I set up a situation where it says jumper collide platform 1. That's what allows the jumper to land on a platform, right? That whole collide thing, if he lands on a platform, then he doesn't go through the platform. He can't push the platform. If he lands on a platform, he can just be on the platform. So I did that for both of the platforms, jumper, collide, platform 1 and platform 2. Also, there is a pull of gravity, let's call it, on the jumper, right? This jumper velocity y equal velocity y plus 0.02. That's like a gravity pull. We did this the other day. All right, so that kind of sets you up a little bit. Now down here at the bottom, here are the things that we're going to do. We're going to create a function for player control, and I'll give you a little heads up. This is going to be float and drift. I don't know if you remember this from the other day. We did a previous lesson. It was float and drift. We want to counteract gravity and also give him the ability to drift left and right a little bit. And we're also going to work in, so what if the platforms go off the bottom of the game screen? We want them to reset back up to the top. One of the things that becomes kind of important on that is the X position of the platforms, but we'll get into that here in just a minute. All right, so let's go to work. I'm going to walk you through this. We're going to make a function for player control first. All right, let's go to functions. Let's get a function block down here, and I'm going to drop it in on line 20. I put a little comment at line 19 there, and I'm going to call this jumper control. All right, really name it what you want, but you have to pay attention to what you name it. Now this is going to be, and like I said, if you're very, very clever, you could go back and look at your float and drift stuff that you did. You could even kind of copy it and paste it if you figured that out, but I'm just going to build it quickly here. So first of all, for the jumper control, I want to counteract the gravity that I have going on here. So that's going to be, I'm going to do if a key went down, and it's going to be the up arrow. And I'm just going to give the jumper a little velocity y there. And I'm going to use -5. That's that's boost up is what that is. And again, you can try different numbers, you'll get kind of different results. So that's if somebody taps the up arrow, you get a little boost up and you counteract the gravity. All right, now let's get a little drift left and drift right in there. So this time, instead of key went down, I'm going to use key down. And this will be for the, I'll do it for the left arrow here, first of all. All right, so this is going to be a little counter loop kind of thing. It's going to be a velocity X. And I'm going to add a little bit of velocity to him, going to the right. And I'll go back and get another sprite velocity X. Okay, and this is going to be jumper. Jumper. And I'm going to add on mine, and I've played around with this a little bit, I'm going to add 0.25 for the velocity, and actually this is left, so it's going to have to be negative. So play with that number if you want to. It has to do with the amount of drift to the right and to the left. Now I need some right drift. I just set up left drift. Now you could, I'm going to do this, I'm going to copy that if block right there, Control C copy, make sure I get my cursor in the place I want it, Control V paste, and I'm just going to switch this to be a right arrow, and I don't want the number to be negative, I want the number to just be a positive number. All right, now remember, and the way code.org does this, you'll get this little yellow triangle. It's telling you you have a function, you've made a function, but you've not called it anywhere. Well, all right, so let's make sure we take care of that. Calling a function is this third block down. It just says my function. I'm going to bring it up here and drop it inside the draw loop, and I called that thing jumper control. All right, so now I have called the function. And the platforms aren't going to work yet, but I'm just going to test my jumper control. And look, it's working. I'm tapping my up arrow and I'm pressing my left and right arrow, and I can make my little jumper. I have control over him. I can counteract the gravity, and I can make him drift to the left, and I can make him drift to the right, and that's kind of what I wanted out of that. That's the kind of control that I want, and that's what we did the other day with float and drift. It's the very same kind of thing. All right, so jumper control is good. That's done. I've called it. I made it. I called it. It's working. All right. Now, there's a time saver coming up here. This will speed up for you here. The next function that we're going to create, and I'm going to do this, I put a comment at line 33, and I'm going to pop it in down here at line 34. I'll squeeze it in. And this is going to be, I'm going to call this reset platform 1. And the idea for this is that when the platform 1 is the one on the left, and when it gets down to the bottom of the screen and goes off the bottom, I want to reset it back up to the top so that it will just reappear. We want constantly rotating platforms. All right, so that's going to involve an if check. Because what I'm going to be looking at there is, did the platform slide off the bottom? All right, think it through. That's going to be a greater than, and that's going to be a .y. I'm going to check, and I put that in the wrong place. Let me just undo on that and get that in the right place. And these platforms are just called platform 1, platform 2, and I put platform, so that's not going to work. That has to be platform. All right, and then I want to check and see if it's greater than 400. If it's greater than 400, that's close enough to the bottom. You could do 410 or 420 if you wanted to. And so what I want to do, and I kind of need to look a little bit at where it was originally set. Platform number 1 was set with an X value of 75. That's how far over it is. So I'm going to reset its X and reset its Y. All right, so platform 1 will get an X of 75, and platform 1 will get a Y of 0. I just want to put it up to the top of the screen. All right, just going to reset it. Now, again, the yellow triangle here is telling me, okay, you have made a function, but you have not called the function. All right, well, I call the function up here inside the draw loop. So I'll come up to the draw loop, and that's going to be reset platform 1. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and run it. And really, I'm not really trying to like do much of anything right now, but I did look at the platform on the left. It reset back up, it went off the bottom and it reappeared on the top, and that's what I wanted. Now, the second platform is not going to do that yet, right? It went off, we haven't taken care of that. So the second platform we still need to do. Now, here comes what I feel like is your time saver. All right, now I need a function to reset platform 2. It's not going to be that different than platform 1. So I'm going to take this block here, this whole thing down here. It's at line 35 where I made this function called reset platform 1. I'm going to click out here in the white and select that whole function, Control C, copy, and I'll make sure that my cursor is down here like at line 43, and I'll Control V, paste. All right, and I got to make a few edits here. This now has to be reset platform 2. In here, it's going to have to say platform 2. I still am checking to see if it was greater than 400 because I want to see if it went off the bottom. But platform 2 is not over 75. And I can run up here to the top and check platform 2 was over 300. Okay. All right. So the X value for platform 2 will be 300. The Y value for, and that's got to be platform 2, is going to be 0. All right. I want to put it back up at the top. Now, again, yellow triangle. It's defined, but it hasn't been called. All right, well, let's take care of that. Let's go up here into the draw loop, reset platform 2. All right, let's run it. Now, what should happen here, I should be able to control my player, and if he lands on a platform, look, he's standing on the platform, and then I could jump. This is what we're trying to do, is make kind of a little platform jumper. Right, he's standing on that platform, and then if I use my arrow keys, and I can make him jump, and he lands on this platform, and he can, because of the collide thing, he can stay on the platform. So he's going to jump now, and I'm using my up and right and left arrow to control him, and he can land on the platform. And here we go, we're going to land on the platform. So this is really how you know, okay, did I get this right? Because a couple of things happen. I can control the player. Good. And the platforms continually recycle. When a platform goes off the bottom, it reappears on the top, right? And also the player can land on the platform. And I had that set up for you, that with that jumper collide platform, that's what makes that happen, right? So let's get over there. Oh no. Boom. All right, so this is it, right? This is what we're trying to do. You write those 3 functions that one will control the player, one will reset the platform on the left, that's platform 1 when it goes off the bottom, and the other one will reset the platform on the right when it goes off the bottom, and then you're done. That's it. Yay.